Well, hello and welcome to today's partner webinar, partner forum webinar. I'm David Devine, the partner program manager for OVHcloud in Northern Europe. On behalf of the team here at OVHcloud, may I first thank all of you for taking the time out of your day today to join us. Let me make a start by first of all just introducing all of our panel speakers who are going to be presenting today and show you the agenda. So here you can see the agenda. We've got 4 slots during the day. We've got Hiram Parekh, our VP for Northern Europe at OVHcloud. He's going to give you a quick update from OVHcloud, an overview of our business and where we're going and our strategic updates. We then have our guest today and thought leader for the day, Alex Hilton, who's the CEO of the Cloud Industry Forum. Alex is going to be sharing with us some exclusive content around some recent end customer research and some of the key findings for there, how that is impacting cloud and the channel and end customers today. We then have Kuldeep Sangar, who's a product marketing manager for OVHcloud. He's going to give you an update about our solutions and how that fits into what customers are looking for today. And then closing at the end will be myself, partner program manager. I'm going to give you a quick update on some of the key initiatives and projects that we're working on within the partner program to help you capitalize on many of the solutions we have, many of those opportunities that we see in the marketplace, so we can work together with you to help collectively win more sales for you. So let's get straight into the content. I'm going to hand over straight over to Hiram, who's going to start talking as an update on investing for growth.
So thank you everyone for joining. I will talk you through a few OVHcloud business updates before I hand over to Alex and the team. So if we move on to the next slide, David. As you can see, when we talk at Q1 results that were being published from OVHcloud, that you can see that our revenue growth is on trend at nearly 14%, 178 million euros, which is really in track and in line with the ambition that we have. And we can see that our FY22 outlook is confirmed of achieving the upper end of the growth that we are targeting. So things are going in the right way, and we can also see a little bit more of how that's being driven, which is predominantly by public cloud, which is also in line with some of the market trends there, and by our private cloud. So really in terms of achieving cloud growth, and we're confident in the business and our teams and our plan that we're on track to meet our ambition. Move on to the next slide, David. And we can see from here just some of the areas and how we're working with that. If you look at the first box there, where we look at the accelerated growth and where that's coming from, we can see that yes, the like for like what we look at versus the reported is very much on trend of where we want to be, and really stronger in our public cloud and over the ambition slightly, which is exactly the target and where we want to be going with some of the other product launches and things that we are moving into, which Kuldeep will talk about in a minute. We've also had some successful events and commercial activity, if you like, in terms of our EcoX, where we shared a lot about our product roadmap, future plans, but also DCS awards in the UK, where we won the Innovation of the Year in recognition for some of our scale and high-grade bare metal servers. In addition, we came runner-up in the Data Center ICT Security Product of the Year category with our Swedish partner Elastasys, who use OVHcloud to offer enterprise-grade, secure, GDPR-compliant containerization solutions. But also we have other commercial partnerships as well with EDF, with Atos, Sopra Steria, and Bechley, to name a few. And we also continue the launch of products and services, not only working on our own, so AI and machine learning or AI notebooks in this world of growing data space. Those type of tools are paramount to any business, but also partnering with the likes of MongoDB or Avon for database as a service solutions, partnership with SAP, and Nutanix hosted private cloud as well, all of which Kuldeep will be covering in a little bit more detail later. So again, just to note here that we have key partners that we're working with, large companies, and again, if you are a smaller reseller, you can give customers your reassurance that they are buying a credible enterprise grade solution from a trusted cloud provider. Next, David. And we continue to, on our infrastructure as well, we continue to expand our data center footprint with Mumbai coming soon. We expanded our private network, which is now 32 terabytes globally as a dark fiber network to ensure that you have the right connectivity through the different points of presence and data center locations that we have. And that is a private network, so it is secure. Your platform is absolutely secure and have the internal connectivity between our global data centers, all backed by a highly resilient anti-DDoS and definitely maintaining some of the compliance and certifications that we have that are not only sort of the industry ISO 27001 or SOC 1 and 2, but more specific to regional ones such as C5 in Germany or Secnum Cloud in France. And we're also part of the G-Cloud framework in the UK as well, to ensure we have credibility and we adhere to certain frameworks or local legislations that comply when it comes to data sovereignty and security. Which brings me on to my next point. On the next slide there is really some of the differentiators that we have is our ambition to bring more transparency, performance and flexibility for the customers on cloud journey. Being a trusted cloud provider that, we do not monitor what you do on the data. Your data is secure at OVHcloud. You are in control of this data and you choose where that data is stored, which data center location, and that we are a trusted pure player that's committed to open standards. And we are also part of the GaiaX European ecosystem as a founding member to really promote the alternative cloud from Europe and compliance with the different certification standards that I just talked about. Also offering part of our open ecosystem. It's for us, the key is to work with open source technologies or work with technologies that are industry standard, which provide that element of portability, reversibility, and interoperability, which are absolutely key for building a hybrid and multi-cloud strategy that everyone is deploying on that digital transformation journey. Also, budget predictability. There's a complete transparency in our costing and pricing model that you have complete control over the cloud services that you're deploying and how you're managing those moving forward. It's transparent, it's simple, and it's predictable. There are no ingress or egress charges on the bandwidth usage that you have with OVHcloud as well. Overall, we work on a sustainable model thanks to our proprietary system and how it works, that we are energy and water carbon efficient. We have a circular economy through second and third life of our servers as well. And we have an ambition to be carbon neutral operations by 2025. So that's our commitment to a sustainable cloud moving forward. David. And last but not least, just a quick overview here. I talked earlier about our ambition and our product roadmap. And you can see already we've had several partnerships and releases when we talk about bare metal cloud for SAP, or a disconnected Google Anthos, or sovereign integration of Google Anthos hosted from OVHcloud data centers. Platform.sh, which is really targeted on the developer community and network, if you like. More recently, we have the high performance object storage and also partnership with Nutanix hosted private cloud. And soon we'll have MongoDB Enterprise, new server range as well, which Cordip will elaborate on in a moment. So I hope that helps give a bit of an overview of what we've been doing and where we're planning to go and how we want to add to this ecosystem of our partners, and not only by having partners in terms of collaborators, but also technology partners that will allow us to bring more innovative solutions to the market to help those customers on that digital transformation journey.
Okay, thank you for that, Hiren there, just giving a very quick update about OVHcloud, where we are as a business, our launch onto the Paris stock market, and also just talk a little bit around some of our key differentiators that we're seeing add value into the marketplace. Now handing over to Alex Hilton, the CEO of Cloud Industry Forum, our guest speaker for today. Alex is going to take you now through some of the research findings from some very recent research that they've undertaken. And Alex, I'll let you explain about the research and those key findings.
Thank you very much, David. Hopefully my screen is all visible, and we will progress from there. So firstly, as explained, my name is Alex Hilton. I'm the Chief Executive of the Cloud Industry Forum. We're an IT trade body, and we talk really to the industry about what we see happening in the markets, the kind of the key drivers and activity that's occurring. So really all I wanted to do here was to talk to you a little bit about some new research that we have launched. OVHcloud are of course members of the forum, and let me start by kind of building on some of this, if I may. So firstly, from our point of view, as I mentioned, we are an IT trade body. Our position is very much one of being vendor agnostic, vendor neutral in terms of what we do and how we go to market. We provide a lot of networking opportunities, a lot of speaker engagement, but that neutrality is really, really important to us. So it's a bit paradoxical in terms of the hand that feeds us is the IT industry, because they will pay a membership fee. but actually, we really want to maintain this position of independence in the market, which we hope gives us credibility and a voice out there. I've listed a number of the members in here, of which, of course, you can see OVHcloud included in there, but a pretty broad spectrum of organizations from bigger providers out there to maybe ISVs and systems integrators, managed service providers and so forth in the market. So let me delve into the research now, if I may. The principle around this is quite simply that we really wanted to try and segment this into three main areas. Okay, so we have these three chapters, if you like, of the research we've done: the acceleration of digital transformation, IT challenges that businesses are facing the pandemic, and the predictions for the future of cloud. And I'll start with this kind of highlight perspective around that one. So the first point is, I'm sorry, let me just click back one. Actually, I should explain before I get you immerse yourself in the detail around this one. This is UK-based research. So we've gone to UK organizations from small businesses of 50 users all the way up to plus 3,000. So it's a very, very broad base that we've gone to. We look at financial services, manufacturing, retail, also public sector in there, and then obviously the SME and enterprise cut within that. So let me kind of delve into some of the highlights firstly around this. So for us, we've been doing this now for the last 12 years, these research programs. So they're pretty well established in the market and quite well known. And indeed, a lot of the media certainly look out for the highlights of what we produce. For this research program, there's been some really, really major milestones that we've seen achieved. Now, clearly, a lot of that will be off the back of the pandemic as well. But we are seeing organizations now saving money. Security becomes a big focus area for us, the whole agility. And indeed, the OVHcloud, you'll see on the far right there, ESGS, which is really what we describe as environmental, social governance, and sustainability in there. I'm going to break each of these down in subsequent slides, so don't worry too much about the high-level numbers around here. But these are kind of your key takeaways in here, which is some big news items within this. There is another side to this coin, though, which is not all rosy, and hence, I do really try to paint a balanced perspective around this one. Organizations do lack budget for the first time. I mean, that's good, that's perennial, right? That problem's never going to go away. In the 30+ years I've worked in the IT industry, I don't think I've ever met a customer who's got plenty of budget, no problems there. However, what organizations have found is 37% that still find sourcing CapEx budget easier than OpEx. And that's a bit of a worry, given the amount of time, the decade plus that we've now been talking cloud and or associated cloud services, which clearly focus on that OpEx approach. Security is an issue. Again, I'm going to come back to that one. And the spiraling cost, this shadow IT cost, is a concern for many organizations as well. Skills, I'm going to come back to that one shortly as well, as I am with the integration of legacy. So those are the kind of the big, if you think about the positives on the top line, the top row there, and not so much the negatives, but things that we need to be cognizant of when we're talking with clients on the lower row. So let me get into that first chapter as I described earlier. The first question you'll see here, and you'll see on each of these slides, there's some black text up there, which is the specific question we asked the audience. So here you can see the first one is, how has cloud helped your organization? Now, we know cloud benefits are numerous. We've seen them for many years. Respondents cited greater business agility, some 52% in fact, improved scalability, that's an important one, 48%, and indeed the resilience. For years I've been talking about the three main tenets of cloud, which are flexibility, scalability, and agility. Those are the three things. Those are the conversations we need to be having with clients about why they can be moving to cloud services, and we'll get into that in a little more depth. Other areas such as AI and so forth do feature prominently, but again I'm going to come back to some of those points as we've seen a little bit of change over the course of the last couple of years. This is a big one. This is a real game changer now. To what extent have cloud services or cloud-based services saved you money? Now, for the last 10 years that I've been talking cloud services, I've always steered clients away from the we're going to do it because we think we're going to save a lot of money argument. Okay, that is the wrong argument. Now, cloud will not necessarily save you money. It will bring you other massive benefits in terms of what your organization can deliver. and the agility that the organization could potentially find. I'm talking about end user organizations, but for you as partners as well, I guess, in there. Now, for the first time ever, we've seen a massive change in here. So you see 47% of organizations have said to a great extent. So cloud services are now saving their money to a great extent. Remember, these are end user businesses. 49% saying to some extent. So 96% of organizations are saying they are saving money using cloud services. That is a big change, and certainly veers away from the conversation I was having where I was suggesting organizations stay away from the cost saving argument, or indeed you're selling customers benefits based on cost savings. It is now starting to bite, and that's great. The next question we had is, to what extent do you agree or disagree with the following statements? Now, this is a little bit of a complicated slide, so let me just kind of explain it and go into some of the detail. You know, some 80% of organizations agreed that migration has simplified their challenges. That's the top line on there. However, in a similar vein, on the penultimate line down there, if you look at that, 81% agreed that cloud has been critical in helping their company manage during the pandemic, and 83% consider it is a key enabler for the future. So some very positive things in there, certainly, as far as the pandemic is concerned as well. On the flip side, though, it does also reveal some challenges. So, for example, 58% agreed that their business struggles to keep up with new cloud technology, and 57% have said cloud has introduced more complexity into the business. And that's an opportunity for you as partners to help manage that complexity within your client's organization. When we get on the topic of digital transformation, which hopefully we're all very familiar with, and you as partners selling cloud services at some level or other will have had or do have that conversation with clients. Does your organization have a digital transformation strategy? So 45% are saying, end users, of course, businesses are saying, yes, we already have a strategy in place. That 36% have adapted to the demands, essentially, of the pandemic and brought their implementation forward at a faster rate. So 75% have accelerated their efforts collectively over the last 2 years, and that's very encouraging. I think the thing that's even more encouraging in there is this slide, which of the following is closer to your organization's position with its digital transformation plan. So 83% of organizations now actually have clear milestones. So it's not just a matter that their senior executives say, well, we need one of these digital transformation plans because everybody's telling me I should have one, but what does that actually mean? So where now organizations are actually implementing them, they have clear milestones in place. And the fact that that's really happening, and again, it's starting to bite to a greater extent. Organizations are much more comfortable with what that digital transformation means and how they can accelerate it. Now, the next one is really looking at the number of cloud services organizations have in place. And the long and the short of this, the average was 5 cloud services, while 39% have gone a step further and they have 6 or more across the organization. So that's this multi-cloud environment that I'm sure you will be familiar with as organizations endeavor to juggle and in fact manage the number of cloud services. And these are real tangible live cloud services that organizations have in place. The next point, really delving into security. Now, for the last 12 years or so that we've been running this research, security has been, without exception, the biggest barrier to cloud adoption. When we've asked questions before about what is holding you back from further cloud adoption, it has been security. We don't really trust cloud services in there. There are just hurdles that they can't really get around. They believe an on-premise situation may often be more secure. Now, again, as with the pricing point I made earlier, this is a major milestone because the majority now recognize that cloud is in fact more secure, 25% and subsequently 36%, as you can see in there. And I think given the explosion in, for example, ransomware attacks over the period of the pandemic, the majority of respondents, 61%, believe that cloud has had a positive impact. 21% saying it's significantly, 25% saying it's significantly more secure. So, I mean, despite that, there is still a sizable minority, 27%, think that cloud is no particular bearing on security, so it's equally secure, as you can see in there. But the fact that that 25 and that 36 really are starting to put their trust in cloud services, believing that a cloud-based security is more secure than perhaps their old on-premise world, is a significant milestone and a significant step forward, and that's very encouraging to see. Security must remain a priority, and it does remain a priority, as you'll see as we go through this in a moment. We talk about hybrid cloud. So obviously this mixed both on-prem and public cloud, or indeed private cloud environment. So what proportion of your organization's IT infrastructure, this is just infrastructure, is hosted in the cloud? Now, this is quite interesting because it's actually gone slightly backwards. So the average proportion of IT infrastructure located in the cloud is now 48%, which was actually a slight decline because it was 50% when we ran this survey in 2020. Now, you could argue there's a margin of error in here, but the fact that it's relatively static, I guess, is quite interesting in here. 60% of organizations reporting a preference for a blend of cloud services, and that's on this next pie chart to show you here. So hybrid is very much here to stay. I think it will be for some years to come. And the fact that 60% of organizations really see that hybrid as the way to go is really demonstrates that point. But also 36% also believe that, you know, they have this cloud first approach. You may remember the UK government some years ago, in fact getting on for about 8 years ago, I think, announced a cloud first strategy for all public sector organizations, which hasn't really panned out as they expected it to, but it is very clearly now a hybrid environment as far as most organizations are concerned, including the UK government, I should say, as well. So the next chapter of this, what are the challenges businesses have faced over the course of the pandemic? The first one, excuse me, is really what's delaying further progress. And you can see what is holding your organization back when it comes to faster cloud implementation. So, you know, budget issues are most commonly cited in here, mentioned by 44% of organizations. This followed by a lack of manpower and resources, probably no great surprises in there. We talk about skills problems and skills challenges out there. And remember the CapEx OPEX point I made earlier, some 37% of organizations still find it easier to source CapEx. So that is a further barrier in there. But the skills piece is quite material in this discussion. And, you know, the inability to successfully integrate cloud with existing legacy you know, does also have an impact on organizations in there as far as that whole skills discussion is concerned. It's especially pronounced, actually, the skills piece when we look at small businesses, the SMBs, so the 50 to 99, and any of you are selling into that space, some 58%, it's not shown on this slide, of organizations have got a real issue at that SME level as far as skills are concerned. At enterprise 3,000 plus, it's about 29%. So not as obvious in the enterprise, very obvious in the SMB sector as well. We wanted to really look and understand why projects fail as well. So why, if at all, have cloud migration projects failed? I don't just mean digital transformation, but cloud projects overall, you know, the higher level, more holistic level. So 28%, and you can see this down at the bottom there, the penultimate line again, 28% of organizations report that their cloud migration projects have been successful. That's a positive step, but also it does also demonstrate that many organizations have struggled in there. So legacy compatibility crops up 25% in there, as do the skills and resource shortages at 25%. So those are coming to the fore again. So security, remember, is not so much a challenge to adoption, but legacy and resources skills are. On the topic of security, what are your department's top 3 challenges over the next 12 months? So if you like the short-term immediate component in here. And you can see I put in there the combination of responses are rated first, second, and third. So, you know, the ranking is pretty self-evident in there. Security does, you know, it's the top of the agenda as far as a priority is concerned, quite rightly so as well, with 58%. Cyber, it does remain a priority. It has to remain a priority. There was I attended a Microsoft event a while ago. Satya Nadella, the CEO, who was talking about the massive spend and prioritization that goes into IT security as far as cloud is concerned. And, you know, rightly that remains the case. But remember, security is not the biggest inhibitor anymore. So that's a very positive sign. Okay, so the final chapter of this is kind of predictions for the future, looking ahead. And I am conscious of time here. Which of the following are your organization's most important IT projects? So the global population, I think, is now largely adapted to remote working or hybrid working to a large degree. So, you know, it's logical that businesses are prioritizing security, cybersecurity generally, you know, again, 58% ranking on that list. Cloud migration comes in second at 42% as organizations hopefully have seen the value of cloud and what that brings. And, you know, that's an encouraging sign. Remote working has shown a decline, which is interesting in terms of the prioritization in here. So from 47% in 2020 down to 41% on here on this chart in 2022. It does remain a top 3 priority in the business. Reduction may be due in part to an increased desire to get employees back to the office, and actually 9% of organizations have said that they want their employees back full time. But some 51% are saying, well, we accept that that will now be this balanced approach across the industry. But I think many organizations have adapted to remote working now and have the infrastructure and the implementations in place that will enable them to move forward to a greater degree and enable hybrid working more broadly. So the next point really is, how important will the following technologies be to your organization in the next 5 years? Remember, we looked at 12 years earlier. This is now looking at the 5-year angle. So I guess slightly longer term, certainly pretty long term as far as any IT project is concerned. So this shows that 89% of respondents consider network security, and that's the bottom bar on there that you'll see. So anybody's in that network security space, you've got to focus on this one. I'm sure you do, because it's a big, big priority. It's either very important or critical to the organization over the next 5 years, followed by cloud infrastructure at 80%, the top line in there. And you know, organizations really want to move that forward. It doesn't show that on here, but 88% of organizations have said that they intend to increase their cloud adoption over the next 12 months. Okay. Now, when we look at things like AI, IoT, machine learning, these are important, but you see they are actually fairly small. That green segment in there in terms of the criticality of them is fairly small. And I think the reason around that, and this is my perspective talking with clients and, you know, and our partner community, is that many organizations now feel that those things have had to go on hold over the period of pandemic. But don't underestimate their importance or their relevance, or the fact that they are going to come bouncing back to a large degree. The hyperscalers in particular have focused massively on AI. And I think as organizations have endeavored to get their infrastructure in place or enable their remote workers over the pandemic, I think you're going to see a big resurgence in the whole AI discussion in particular. Now, we also looked for the first time in our research at ESG, and I mentioned it's right at the start of this. So environmental, social governance, and sustainability. So I kind of summarize this as ESGS in there. But think of it as the kind of OVHcloud. Hiran referred to it earlier, very positive statements from OVHcloud in this space as well. But it's important. And how important is it? Again, we asked this question, how important is this ESGS to your organization when you're deciding on your choice of cloud vendor or your supplier? So you as partners need to have a story in this space, whether that's partnership with OVHcloud or whether it's your own story that supplements or builds on top of that. 29% of end user customers say it's extremely important. 55% say it's very important. So, you know, the attitudes of decision makers really do appear to reflect this in here. So it's an important topic. People care about sustainability, and they will be asking you questions. And indeed, you'll probably already see this on tenders and documents as well. Your various RFPs and things like this the organizations will ask for. However, when they go forward with this, would you reject a potential cloud vendor in this space? So 30% say yes, they would by default. If you don't have a good response, you know, on your RFP, then you're going to be rejected immediately as far as that's concerned by 30%, and 49% saying yes, they would usually reject the vendor in there. So you've got to bear those things in mind. If you have a story around sustainability, you've got to be able to present that well to your end user base. Now, having said what I've just said, I'm going to kind of contradict it a little bit, because actually when it comes to the crunch, which of the following priorities are most important when considering a cloud provider? Remember, these are end users giving us these responses in here. So the prioritization goes as follows: price, service availability, trust, scale, relationship, speed of responsiveness, and then sustainability at 25%. So my argument here is that although end user organizations are saying this is super important, this sustainability stuff, it does not trump price, it does not trump service availability, etc. on that list. So you've got to have the story in place, but if it's going to impact your pricing and your trust and your service capability to your end user customer, you're still not necessarily going to win that deal in there, which might not come as a surprise. My point really, I suppose, is we're paying lip service to sustainability to a degree. We need to have the story in place, but it's not necessarily something that is going to win you the deal solely. It's a factor. Now, my final point around this one, and then I will hand back to David, is really around the summary points that we've seen here. These are the things I guess I would love you to take away and start to have conversations with your clients about if you so choose. Cloud has shown its value in the pandemic. It's saving organizations money. Remember, 96% of organizations now believe they're saving money. Digital transformation is clearly mainstream. Organizations are on that journey of digital transformation. They now understand the language. And I think that's what I would recommend to you is how you should present your stories back. Organizations must invest in that digital skills, and that's the end user organizations investing themselves. But you as partners can present your skills that you have in your organization back to those end users as well, and use them to supplement what the end user has, or indeed maybe lacks in some cases, be that through professional services or simple implementation skills within the organization. Security focus is key. It's a priority for organizations, but organizations, remember, now trust cloud services to a far greater degree than they did in the past. So organizations who are maybe hesitating about moving to cloud because they have a secure on-prem world, they believe, talk to them about statistics and the numbers that I've shown you in here. And really adapting to this new way of thinking. This is the hybrid story. We're all very familiar with this. We work in the tech industry, so we've been pretty capable of doing this stuff for some years, but many end users haven't. And that does vary by market sector. So, you know, retail manufacturer may be a little bit more reluctant for obvious reasons in there. Finally, legacy. I haven't focused massively on legacy, but there were a few slides in there that talked about this. Legacy is an issue. And that's probably what it is, you know, and our research showed this. It is really the biggest barrier to adoption now that organizations are seeing as well. So you've got to help customers through that legacy. Legacy is perceived as a dirty word sometimes, which I don't really agree with. I think there are opportunities to maintain that legacy implementation in place. People can do lift and shift type of stuff, not necessarily the right thing to do all the time, as organizations maybe should be planning for more of a cloud native type of approach as they build cloud into their strategy longer term. But you've got to think about that legacy implementation within the organization. My final one really here is just to give you a perspective of where you can get hold of us if you would like to do so, and I would welcome that. You can download the full paper from our website. You can subscribe to our news services, or if you're interested indeed in becoming a member, you're welcome to do so, and we would love to see you involved. Cool. That is it really from my point of view. Let me stop sharing my screen, and I will bounce back over to David.
Okay, thank you, Alex. And hopefully everyone who found that research findings are incredibly useful. In fact, what I'd like to do now, just take a few minutes. Alex has presented an awful lot of information there about what he has seen from the research, what the research telling him around where the market's going. But it'd be interesting just to get a straw poll of some feedback from you as resellers, if you're seeing some of these things come into the marketplace, and these are some of the things that you're being asked by your customers. So I'm just going to launch a little bit of a poll for a little bit of participation from all of you. And you can see the question here that's going to come up on your screen at the moment. So which of these key trends, the ones that Alex has talked about, are the ones that you're seeing are most important to your customers? So the ones that they seem to be asking most frequently. So I'm just now launching the questions there. So hopefully now you will see a poll, and you should be able to see that now and answer that in terms of what you are seeing in terms of those most important trends for your customers. You can choose 2 or 3 of these. The ones that you're seeing are the most relevant for your marketplace. So just have a think around what you're seeing, what you are starting to see from your customer base, and I'll just share the feedback in terms of what we're getting. So I'll give everyone a few seconds to go through that. Okay, still see a few more votes coming through. By the way, all of these votes are completely anonymous. We don't get to see any of that. It's just a general straw poll of percentages that we can see here. I see a few more people just clicking a few more options. I'll give it a few more seconds. Okay, I'm going to leave it there. Most of you have put through your responses. So, Alex, I'll just hand over to you if I may, just kind of talk through these results and see what you think in terms of what you see in these. So, out of the 5 responses we have, the top one out of the choices, 83% legacy migration and integration is a big challenge. We then had next is public cloud is accepted as secure. Then we've got 54% skill shortages is delaying adoption. 31% focus on existing infrastructure, and then 15% is our environmental, social and governance and sustainability. So we're seeing right at the top of the pile there, legacy migration and also public cloud is accepted as secure. Any thoughts on what you're seeing there, Alex, from that research and the little poll done there?
Well, I mean, hopefully that's backed up in the research that I've just talked with you about in so much as, you know, the things that we've seen. The fact that legacy is seen as the #1, that actually did stack up in the numbers that I was showing there. So I would agree with that one. The public cloud, I guess the point there is public cloud secure. That's really the question that customers are asking in there. And again, you know, what I would really recommend is that organizations, you know, your channel partners use the research that we've got in there. It actually shows on the security question that organizations do now accept the cloud is much more secure. And hopefully, you know, your partners can use that information when they go back to their clients to say, well, look, here's some independent research that we've seen in the market. You know, many customers are now feeling much more confident about it. The legacy one, I'm not sure I can give you an answer to that other than just being aware of it and helping organizations through that. And I think that does go, as I mentioned in my presentation, hand in glove with the skills challenges as well. You know, some of the legacy skills that are required in place, you know, are still about, but you know, there are still COBOL developers out there. But you know, organizations need to ensure that they've got the right migration support from partners, and hopefully you as partners, in order to do that. But I can't really give you any silver bullet as far as legacy integration is concerned, other than flagging it clearly is an issue that organizations have seen.
Okay, great. Well, thank you very much for that, Alex. Thank you for spending the time with us today to share that research. I'm hoping everybody's found it useful. We've still got a lot of content to cover, so I'm going to move on now to Kuldip. Kuldip is going to start to talk to you about how you could take some of those key trends that Alex has talked around and how that intertwines into the OVHcloud solutions in terms of what we have as a roadmap, and how that can help you, give you some options and some ideas around how you can start to address some of those needs that you're seeing in the marketplace. So Kuldip, I will now hand over to you.
Okay, thanks, David, and thanks, Alex. Really interesting research. It's exactly this kind of research that informs our product strategy together with Gartners and the IDCs, Foresters of the world. But it's exactly this that is driving our product and service strategy. So yeah, my name is Kuldip. I'm responsible for ensuring that our products and solutions are relevant to everyone in our region. So next slide, please, David. So lots of boxes here, but let me start at the bottom and just have a quick look at all the services that we offer. Now, at the bottom, we have our platform, and that includes a 32 terabyte a second network. Alex has talked about the security as a hygiene factor. So, you know, it includes an anti-DDoS that underlies all of our solutions. It's optimized for stability, redundancy, and availability. So when we start overlaying that network with the security and management layers, that enables us with access to some market-leading solutions, all at the click of a few buttons. Now, there is a rich portfolio of private and public cloud offerings. It spans IaaS and PaaS. Hiren's talked about our data centers. It's 33 across the globe, and it's growing, a lot more investment coming in there. I'm going to pick out just a few of these boxes. So the first one I'll pick on is bare metal cloud. So that's a range of dedicated infrastructure solutions. It supports critical workloads and applications that may require, anything from high performance, reliability, and control, and underlying on all of these security and your compliance needs, which may vary by industry. So the interesting thing about these bare metal clouds when I came into OVH was that they're water cooled. So they will ensure the sustainability perspective, and it underpins OVH's approach to being carbon neutral by 2025. It also comes with world-class SLAs. It's got embedded security featuring Intel, SGX, and the AMD equivalents as the powerful chips. And we've mentioned it, but again, it's important, the data sovereignty angle. It's an ethos within OVHcloud. It gives all of our customers a peace of mind when it comes to keeping data safe. The other added angle here is about unmetered and guaranteed network egress ingress traffic. Means that there won't be any hidden charges, so there's no bill shock at the end of all of this. And obviously those solutions come with automation tools, recognize APIs, so that they're familiar to the users and get things up and running quickly. Now, because we're vertically integrated in terms of a business model, it does mean that OVH can offer the best price performance ratio in the market when it comes to bare metal. Just moving across to hosted private cloud, a few things there. Now, Alex mentioned the difficulty in integrating legacy with cloud and the cloud native apps. So we've got VMware, Google Anthos as solution sets to help organizations manage that journey, so it becomes a part of a seamless experience. But we don't just rest on that. We've got Nutanix that's being launched in a couple of weeks, so that we have a full gambit of scenarios that you've got for your kit bag. And I'm going to circle to this, back to this in a bit. The other thing I'll point out here is the storage and backup. So we've got a full set of services. It covers everything from object storage, whether it's high performance standard with Swift, etc. We've got block storage from classic, high speed, including generation 2 and cloud disk array. We've got just launched yesterday, so it's hot off the press. We've got software defined file storage with a fully managed NetApp on-tap solution. And of course, we offer archive facilities, whether it's Cloud Archive, Veeam, and also we've got Cold Archive coming soon. And the beauty of this, it comes with unified customer control panels. It offers a seamless user experience across all of the OVH technologies that we are talking about. And again, APIs that'll make it easy to automate. Final thing I'll talk about here is just databases. So in terms of databases, we have a broad set of database as a service solutions. It covers SQL, NoSQL. You will have heard of MongoDB, no doubt. It's leader in the big data, and Forrester Wave have acknowledged it as a leader in that. Magic Quadrant, and developers like it. It's got enterprise grade features. We've launched it as part of our solution set, and you can get it up and running within minutes, few clicks of the button, and no lock-ins, etc. So it's all there for you. It's fully managed service, takes the headache away from things like maintenance, patches, updates, whether it's scaling, resiliency, backup, security, all of that. And obviously these tools are ideal for use with AI and machine learning. So when you're developing those kinds of projects for your customers, these are ideal solution sets for it. Could you go on to the next slide, please, David? So now this is what it looks like when it's populated. And I am not going to go through this in any form of detail. It's busy, but there's no apologies for that. OVHcloud have been busy working with market leading partners, working with our own internal product houses to create this blend of solutions. But it gives you a good idea of the breadth and depth of services that we offer with strategic partners, VMware, Nutanix, Google, Veeam, Zerto, NetApp, MongoDB, Ivan, they're all on here. It's a who's who. And these can, be used to fill out your kit bag. It'll add extra dimensions to the services and approach that you can take to personalize for your customers. Next slide, please, David. Okay, so this was the slide that Hiram presented earlier. What I'm going to do is just use this as a basis to talk about some of the new products and services on the roadmap, but I'm going to also talk about it in a slightly different guise to work with all of the points that Alex has talked about. This covers in the run up to Christmas and the first 4 months of 22. And in terms of the investments we make, the research informs this, and therefore you can imagine we've got a busy schedule. Now, for each of these, we produce lots of collateral, videos, user support to understand those propositions, and we can work with you to develop your go-to-market strategies and stay relevant to your customers. So, and by the way, all of these details are available on GitHub, and we'll point to that at the end of this presentation. So on the next slide, please, David. Right, so the top half of this, let's just, what I will attempt to do with that table is map the new launches to the customer needs that Alex has been talking about. And the first row on that, it talks to the security aspects. So it just so happens that OVHcloud thwarted the largest cyber attack in history. Now, that was only slightly bettered in 2018 by a competitor more than 50 times our size. So no guesses as to who that is. But you can't rest on past victories when it comes to this aspect. So at OVHcloud, we're continually improving our capability to stay ahead of those security threats. And what's more, we know it's complex operating across those traditional silos, whether it's network, IT, cloud, security. So our built-in DDoS ensures that there are less security gaps in this hybrid cloud world that Alex was talking about. Now, Alex also mentioned the public cloud has now reached that tipping point where it's regarded as a safe pair of hands. We'll have to continue with that. So this roadmap sort of demonstrates that we do all it takes to retain that safe position for public cloud. The next row is all about hybrid cloud as an enabler. So again, Alex talked about how difficult it is to move those legacy apps from where they are to a cloud native approach. So we've got solutions in this place, namely VMware, Nutanix, and Google Anthos. Nutanix is coming on stream in a couple of weeks' time, and we can work with you to offer the solutions, the frameworks that round out this proposition set, and you can offer it to your customers in a disciplined way, if you like. And again, choosing the right cloud strategy, whether customers want to use that cloud to deliver the transformation that their business is looking for, whether it's even managing it in life. And it's obviously still important to protect and stay compliant, but talk to us about how we can combine strengths so you can offer your customers the confidence they need to trust you with their projects, especially in this hybrid setup. The final row here is about delivering that migration. Now, this is an ongoing journey for everyone. So the product set that we've got dramatically increase the business computing and storage needs, especially around the bare metal area. We've got a family of 5 that you can choose from. They sidestep that issue about skill shortage, and they offer flexibility without those hidden costs. So each of those families go up in terms of processor performance, the Intel Xeon, including the Gold, the AMD equivalent. It's got memories ranging from anything from 32 gigabits to 1.5 terabits. But more importantly, as importantly, should I say, they have unlimited traffic options. So in terms of public and private, there's no hidden costs. And whether you use this to support customers with on-prem in the journey to hybrid, whether it's containerization, virtualization, whether it's things like web hosting, private cloud, all of these come into the mix in this area. And we know, as Alex pointed, cloud journey, it's not a binary approach. Customers choose which of its workloads they're going to try and move to the cloud, and importantly, they can choose the pace at which they move those. Now, the benefits are for bare metal. You all know many of them about reduction in overhead management time, the global capability, elasticity. So I won't go too much into them. But for you, whether you buy the dedicated servers from OVHcloud, resell them as a managed solution, or you just manage the admin tasks with direct access to our hosted servers whilst the customer buys directly from us. It depends on how this matches your needs, which in turn is driven by the needs of the customers. The last slide then, please, David. Okay, so here, the bottom half of the roadmap, I'll carry on in the same vein, but we all know that data is growing at an incredible rate of knots. A stat I like using is that IDC predicts 9 zettabytes of data by 2024. That's globally. That's a mind-boggling 1 terabit for every human on the planet. It's gathered by all sorts of means, whether it's the edge, Internet of Things, it's all adding to it. The complexity of it all, the limited budgets that drive our customers' thinking, it all makes for a very complex setup. So I mentioned we launched MongoDB. MongoDB Enterprise from that stable is coming downstream in a few weeks' time. We've got MySQL, PostgreSQL, Kafka, Redis, all of those familiar names to you. And there's going to be additions of Cassandra, M3, and Grafana coming at the back end of April. Alex also talked about that explosion in data and managing that, especially with the skill shortage, is a real headache. So we can take the management away from them as a daily grind and do it on your behalf. Whether it is also looking at those other areas such as capturing and storing data, harnessing it so that you can use the value of that data to build your set of services. You can see NetApps there, fully managed enterprise grade on high performance cache and SSD disks. That comes with 2 nodes for redundancy purposes, 99.99% availability. It's automated backup. So it gives you an example of the kind of wealth of services in this area. So we are the only European cloud provider to offer that as a managed solution. But the beauty of it is it's easy to use with APIs so that for those who do need to use it, you can use it with familiar tools. Okay, so I'm conscious of the time. We're running into the last few minutes. We did have a polling question, but given the time, David, I think maybe now's a good time to just finish off.
Yep, certainly. So thanks for that, Kuldeep. I still have a few more things just to go through on the partner program updates. We will skip the poll. The slides I've got here, they normally take about 10 minutes plus a quick wrap up, but I'm going to attempt to do an abridged version of it so that we finish as close to 1 o'clock as possible and kind of give a very quick summary of some of the things. Hopefully I won't miss any of the key points, but of course, after this, and of course, if I finish a few minutes after 1 o'clock and you need to go, that's okay. We can be in touch afterwards. We'll share the slides and so on. So let me just go straight into these slides and start to share some of them. There's not too many to go through. So you've kind of heard, just as a quick recap from Alex about where the market's going, some of those key drivers, and you've heard from Kuldeep about how we're well positioned with many of our solutions. So the next bit here is about how we can, through the partner program, bring all of that lot together with a suite of tools that we have end to end, as you can see on this slide here, from developing the propositions right the way through to winning and closing deals. All of the things that you see here are by and large available to all partners at all levels, and I won't go through all of these here, but I thought it was worthwhile just to give you a quick summary of all of the tools, all of the support, all the resources that we provide to all of our partners to help you capitalize on those opportunities. So whether you're looking to develop a proposition, need technical support, want some vouchers to create a test and dev environment and so on, work with our technical teams to look a bit under the bonnet of our solutions, we can facilitate that. We can provide all the knowledge share across our certification and training programs, and also other things we do outside of the program in terms of webinars such as this, or even some dedicated around some of our solutions as well, all designed to help enable and provide that knowledge that's required across sales, pre-sales and technical support, and also in life support after the sale. If you're looking to create leads and do some lead generation initiatives, there's a suite of tools we can provide you there, whether it's to go to your existing customer base, look to cross-sell and upsell, or even go hunting for new logo. We can provide support in terms of initiatives around marketing campaigns, even speakers at webinars if you need some kind of industrial or knowledge experts in specific areas. And of course, if you're looking to do some more account-based, very targeted activity, we've got various tools we can use to do account mapping. Look for gaps in your customers' portfolios to identify additional cross-sell opportunities that you may have and improve that stickiness you have with them. And then when it comes to winning deals, we've got a kit bag there with all sorts of support we can provide with you. In particular, when, as we heard today, that support and that knowledge, because of cloud becoming more complex, we understand how important it is to give you the access to that knowledge. So one thing that we spend a lot of time doing is providing face-to-face or people-to-people in a virtual environment, that support across pre-sales, sales, solution architects, and even going to meetings if you want, or sitting behind you in the background to provide that support, whether it's on technical information or on business outcomes, commercial information as well. So I kind of raced through that slide very quickly, but as you can see, there's a full suite of all sorts of tools there. If you're looking to find more or find out if there's other things specific for you in the program, then please be in touch with us. And I just want to cover off a couple of quick initiatives that we're announcing as additional things that we're implementing into the program. So let me first of all talk about deal registration, which is one part of the package right at the very end there, talks in terms of support. If you have any large, slightly more complex deals, and you can see the criteria we have on the right hand side and the qualifying customer engagement level there. If you have deals there that you're looking for additional support, we will provide that additional protection in terms of resources and expertise at the right time when it's needed to support you to help win those deals. It's a package of benefits that we provide from anything from our direct sales support right the way up to in corporate and enterprise space if you're looking for that C-suite engagement, all the way through to things that we have in terms of tools and techniques within our big desk team. There's also an awful lot of content that we can share with you to help your teams get skilled up, whether it's into specific verticals or technical elements across our solution areas, or even marketing and sales resources, both within the partner portal, but also within the training portal as well that you can access. And then if you're looking to do something a bit specific around the product side of it, we have vouchers in our professional services team that can provide that support on that transformation project, and also again for test and dev environments as well. So I kind of rattle through this particular bit very quickly. If you're looking for information about our deal registration, you've got a deal that's quite complex and you need help and support in it, just reach out to us. We'll look at how we can help you and fit it into this process. The deal registration tool will be going live, we're hoping the next 3 months. We're just finalizing or building that now into the partner portal that you have access to. So look out for information over that over the coming months. The next thing to quickly cover off is our vouchers that we have. So this is great if you've got customers who you're looking to either encourage to buy or you're looking to get them to try before they buy, test and dev environments, or even to experience the console and the features and functionality. As you can see, we've got two specific offers just for partners across both our public cloud and private cloud. Very simple to use it. Speak to your account manager at OVHcloud. They'll register it for you, and you'll be able to get access to it straight through to your account. We're finding this is working incredibly well as a very high conversion rate from customers who are interested in the solutions that OVHcloud provides, and it converts very, very quickly into sales. So it can facilitate the sale, it can increase the conversion rate, and it can speed up that sales process. And the final thing, just to very quickly announce as well, is about the Partner Academy. I've shown this slide here just to show you the wrap of all of the training that we provide and all the different modules that we have for our advanced partner program. But of course, even if you're at other levels, you can access some of this. It's just different in terms of the criteria you need for your specific partner level. But as you can see from what this slide is saying here, there's two key things that we're doing here. One, all those in the big orange box, recordings available on demand. All of those we are moving to an on-demand format rather than a pre-scheduled event. That means that you can consume this at the time you want, at the pace that you want. So you can get all of your teams upskilled as and when is needed and consume it as and when it's convenient for you. We also have a new module which complements into our platform as a service solutions that you can see on the left-hand column there under our Discover OVHcloud B1 module. So a new module we have there just to help you understand a bit more about all those new solutions that Kuldip has talked around. So there's just some, and this is we're just through the final stages of testing these solutions right now, and then it will be going live within the next week or two. So again, just look out for an announcement from us about when you can start to access this, and we can help you navigate around it to understand where it's relevant, what particular courses may be of interest or useful for you to capitalise on the solutions that we've talked around today and take them to market. So apologies, I've kind of whizzed through those pretty quickly to get us as close to finishing to 1 o'clock as possible. But just some key takeaways from today. You've heard from Hiran, who's provided a business update about OVHcloud, about our successful IPO and the investments we're starting to make. We are right at the top end in terms of our growth forecasts and expect to continue to be so with the forecasts that we're seeing now. And Hiran's also provided a summary of those differentiators that we're finding are resonating well in the marketplace. We then heard from Alex around the market research. And I guess the key takeaways there is just subscribe into the news for Cloud Industry Forum. Lots of great content and there are lots of useful content that you can use to either then start to talk to your customers about digital transformation and use that to leverage and open up conversations with them to uncover new opportunities that you may have. We then heard from Kuldip around the solutions roadmap, who's talked very much about how a lot of the solutions we create, they're driven by what customers require, those key market drivers, what adds value to them, and then how our solutions through our broad range of partners that we have across the vendor community provides a very comprehensive range of solutions. So almost like one-stop shop where you get a very broad market share coverage across each of our solution areas to take something to your customers. And then from my side on the partner program, those quick updates of those new initiatives that we have around deal registration, our free trials that you can provide to customers in terms of vouchers and proof of concept, and then the academy training that we're moving on demand. So that's just a quick recap of everything that we've covered off today. Thank you to everybody for all of your time. I hope you found it useful today, all the content that we've covered. There are some contact details there. Lots of content we've covered here. Of course, we'll share the slides afterwards. Hopefully it's stimulated some ideas and thoughts of how you could go to market, drive new sales, win business together. And of course, we're always open to talk more, so you can see my contact details, the partner program contact details there as well. And of course, you have your OVHcloud account manager that you can get in touch with, or if you wanted to speak more to Alex, I'm sure if you contact us, Alex is more than happy to share more information with you or guidance from his team. So thank you from everyone today. I hope you find it useful. I hope the lunches have been good for those of you who provide the details, and we'll be in touch with you very soon just to talk around everything that we found that we're talking through today, and we'll be in touch soon. So thank you and goodbye to everyone.